Man, so we got to talk about a Texas Hold'em because this game right here is going to be a lot of poker faces because one team had high hopes coming into the season. They had a lot of off-season moves that were made. They had a rookie quarterback coming off one of the best rookie seasons, and then you got another team now with the Chargers who went out and found a coach, and it looked like he revitalized that locker room and how one of these quarterbacks play. So we got the Chargers at Texans Saturday at 4:30. No Beyonce halftime, so you don't got to worry about that one. But I want to start with you on this one, Joe. Who you got winning?
Hey, Kev, I agree. They are the worst playoff team, the Texans. They probably are the worst playoff team.
Hey, I'm
But
snatching the mic. I'm starting this off.
Oh,
That's the
oh, all
team
right, all
that
right.
oh yeah, no, no. I'm
this
sorry,
the
I
this the
forgot about
team
that, Dave.
this the team
Oh
that
yeah,
I've
the
been
Chargers. But both of these guys.
yeah, these my guys, man. It's John Harbaugh. I mean Jim Harbaugh, my bad.
And the Texans head coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these,
there you
these are
go.
both my guys, but I'm going with the team that seems to be more ready right now. The team that looks like they're actually playing well. The Texans have not been playing well this season. CJ Stroud, I don't necessarily believe in. He has not played well this year. He's been shout out to Joe. I have to give this to Joe every single time because going into the season, he said that CJ Stroud was going to struggle. He was going to have a sophomore slump, and that's exactly what he had. Now I get it. He did have some injuries that happened to his team this year. Tank Dell was out at times. He had Nico Collins out at times. He had Stephon Diggs out at times. But there were times where he had all these guys, and he was still struggling. I have to continue to go back to that game against the Lions when Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in that game,
Mm,
and they still lost.
that's wild.
That to me was just crazy because the defense was making plays, but the offense could not score. And that's because CJ Stroud could not make any plays. Even though that the run game was okay, but the run game didn't make a difference. But CJ Stroud, he does not look like the same quarterback that we saw last year in the rookie. He looked more confident last year. When he went into the playoffs, they were on a win streak, and they pretty much got it because the Jaguars choked it away. But he showed in that playoff game against the Browns that he was here. He made a stamp on that rookie season that he had, and it was a phenomenal rookie season. But now this year, he doesn't look like the same quarterback. He looks like Bryce Young last year, and Bryce Young looks
Mm,
like him this year. If you look at how Bryce Young had played in these last few weeks, even though the Panthers are terrible, he played a lot better than CJ Stroud did. And remember, last year there were a lot of questions about did the Panthers make the right pick by getting Bryce Young? Did the Texans make the right pick by getting CJ Stroud? We heard that. Remember, Lovie Smith got fired because they lost that pick. I think the Chargers are going to win this game simply because this team seems to be more motivated. There seems to be more. They just seem to be more ready for this moment. Even though the Texans had a playoff win last year, and the last time the Chargers were in this, they lost because they squandered the lead. And of course, Justin Herbert was the quarterback during that time. But Justin Herbert this year has not really turned the ball over that much. He's had a really good season, and it's been under the radar for real. And that's without having what most people consider top offensive weapons because he lost Keenan Allen, Mike Williams is gone, and they didn't know who the running back was going to be because Austin Eckler went and signed with the Commanders, and they didn't know what they were going to have this year. J.K. Dobbins when he got another injury and was out for the season, and then Gus Edwards had to step up, and then they had other running backs that had to step up. But then you had Ladd McConkey, the rookie out of Georgia, who come in and he started shining. And then you had Quentin Johnson, who everyone was calling trash last year because he just couldn't do nothing, and he stepped up this year. And then you look at the defense. You look at the personnel they have back there. They still got Khalil Mack. They still got Joey Bosa. They got guys back there. They got one of the best safeties in the league back there in Derwin James. So they got all the pieces they need to compete. And I just think that with Jim Harbaugh there, he's going to hype up Justin Herbert, and I think that's going to be the key to the Chargers winning that game.
Trent.
Yeah, no, everything that Echo and Dave's point. Chargers, I think, are just the most ready team. They're averaging over 34 points in their last 3 games on offense. Of course, you got the Patriots and the Raiders, so the sample size is a little skewed, but that third 35-point performance was against the Broncos defense. So I think they're clicking on all cylinders. It's really weird because I did watch that game that the Chargers got essentially thumped by Tampa, and since then they've been playing completely different football. I love Ladd McConkey, as Dave alluded to, great receiver for them. And I think Dobbins is trending to play this weekend, so they should be healthy on all offense. Defense, again, can be susceptible to getting torched at times, but with the playmakers and Derwin James on that defense, I do like the Chargers. To your point about CJ Stroud, he's been very inaccurate this year. He's accuracy percentage up there with Bryce Young and Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence and a bunch of other guys you don't want to be in the same category with. So just based on trending and the way the season has been so far, it's hard to say that the Texans are going to come in and win. I think if they do win, it's going to be on that defense. They're going to have to make Herbert uncomfortable. They do have some good corners and some good defensive players. I know you got Stingley out there. So I think the Texans defense is really going to have to be the one to keep them in it if they want to do it. But I just don't see them keeping up on offense with what the Chargers have been putting out there. So I think it's going to be a really high-scoring game. I would say Chargers are going to win, though. We'll go 35-25.
Joe?
Yeah, so the Chargers should win this game, but as much as we are killing like CJ Stroud, we can't forget what happened with Justin Herbert in his first playoff game. He was up all those points. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 interceptions. Just like you just said, Dave, right? the Lions threw 5 interceptions and still won a game. Well, Trevor Lawrence threw 3 in the first quarter, and they still won that game. So, and a lot of people blame the coach for not running the ball. Like, think about this, y'all. I'm going to blame the coach for not running the ball, which is a fact. But where does a quarterback falls into that? Because the ball was in your hands to make the plays, all right? And he did not make those plays. So I'm going to strictly evaluate Justin Herbert in this game. I do think they'll win though, because the Texans are just a sloppy football team. Like they just play a bunch of ugly games. Now early in the season they were winning a lot of close games, and I said, before the season, I said they're going to miss the playoffs, but they division some trash. But I said, Messi, I'm like, yo, they look like last year Eagles team, who just sliding by all these games, just sliding by. And I had a feeling they were going to tank at the end of the season. Now they ain't going on losing streak like Philly did, but they were losing down the stretch of the season. So luckily they are in the AFC South. No, AFC South. They weren't even in the playoff. They gave the Colts a chance to win the division, which is crazy, But I'm gonna go with them, man. I think for the key for the Texans to win this game, they gotta feed Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's have been good. I think he's been a 4th best running back in the league this year, behind when healthy, behind Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and Saquon Barkley. He's been really good when they use him, But I think the Chargers are well coached. I think the Eagles does a good job. The Texans do got a good defense, but so does the Chargers. I agree with Trent that the Chargers defense can be suspect sometimes, breaking that secondary, right? But they've been consistent for the most part all year, except when they played Tampa a couple of weeks ago. But I'm going with the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert will play well, but if he doesn't, I'm gonna be on this line next week.
I think it's gonna be well deserved because of all the praise and which this team has turned around. I know we are talking about this playoff game last year, but think about that Chargers team last year. They were finding ways to lose games regardless of. Most people would say it was the coach. There were a lot of games where they lost by 1 point or less, I think, last year. And then you got Harbaugh coming in, then he rally up the team, and you see how they just playing better. Now, if it comes down to the running game, like I said, I agree with you, Trent, on if JK is playing and he's healthy, then they got a shot there because I think Gus is also supposed to play as well. So now you're talking about 2 backs versus the one that the Texans have with Joe Mixon. And it's something about that AFC South and them just giving away the division. Because you said the Colts almost had a chance, right? It's kind of funny if you really want to reverse back, what happened with the Jaguars? They did the same thing for the Texans. They kind of gave it to them. It's like they just playing musical chairs with who wins the division. I think the Texans lose this game, and I think they lose bad because of that. It has to be a wake-up call for this team, and I think that is what's going to drive them into the offseason. The Chargers are going to win this game. I think it's going to be, in football, they say 7 points. 7 to 10 points is a blowout, but I think the Chargers win this by at least 17 points. Because of the coach that they have on that sideline. Like, he's going to have this team ready. He's going to probably show them that game last year, that last playoff game when they lost to the Jags and said, y'all better than that. Everybody on this team is better than that. We know what the Texans are bringing in here, but we're the Chargers, and we're gonna make this thing happen. And if you think about that division that they in, they like the Broncos got to play, the Chiefs are playing. So who's to say we don't deserve to be here as well? So I think he's just gonna have this team overly motivated, and they're gonna find a way to win.
And Trent, as a big college guy, you too, there. I know you're a big college guy too. CJ Stroud has never beaten John Harbaugh. Never beat him.
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim, sorry, at Michigan. When he was in Michigan, he never beat him in Michigan. So I want to keep that in mind. He never beat him in Michigan. And I found this out today. Guess what? The whole defensive coaching staff. Guess where they came from?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's wild. So that's, hey, I'm just saying. You know,
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
Dang day.
I know.
Man, what? Look, man.
The good old days.
I still root for Jim Harbaugh. That ain't gonna change.
Good thing in the AFC, right?
Exactly. I'm glad he's there, not in the NFC.
You're right.
Well, we're gonna take it back to the NFC with this next game we got coming up. This